Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the SHU Sports Report. Alongside me is Frank DeZenzo. I'm Aaron Burrell. Now, Frank, I know you're a big baseball fan, so why don't you tell us about what happened this week at Harbor Yard?
We're going to get right into it. Baseball is starting to get hot midway through the season. The Pioneers have won 5 of their last 6 games, including 3 of their last 4, all against Central Connecticut State this past weekend. The 4-game homestand started on Friday, where Sacred Heart would lose their only game of the weekend to CCSU 11-4. SHU was leading all the way through until the 7th inning, where CCSU had 7 runs come across the plate. Compliments of 2 errors from SHU, which led to 5 unearned runs that inning. 3 more runs in the 9th, and SHU would be unable to come back. As for the rest of the weekend, let's just say the Pioneers took the Blue Devils on a long journey. As for the first game of the doubleheader, on Saturday, SHU would find themselves all tied up in the bottom of the 7th, 2-2. Here comes the drama. Jason Sullivan gets hit by a pitch with 1 out. Next batter, Zach Short hits into a fielder's choice, just beating out an attempt at a double play for the Blue Devils. Now here comes Victor Sorrento, who on a 2-2 count sends one to the left field warning track. This allows Zach Short to come all the way around and score the winning run. Start the celebration, SHU takes the game in walk-off fashion, 3-2. One other notable thing that happened in this game was that Zach Short has now become the all-time leader in base on balls in program history with 85. Good eye, Zach. Now back to baseball, where in the second, the 2 games, the Pioneers found themselves with a 4-run lead in the bottom of the 5th. The Blue Devils then came back in the next 2 innings, making it a 1-run ball game to the top of the 7th. But thanks to Dan Schock throwing out the potential tying run at the plate, the game would see no more scoring, preserving James Taubel's first career save. The Pioneers would take this one 5-4. As for hitting, it was Zach Short again at the top, going 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. The final game of 4 was played on Sunday, once again at the Harbor Yard, where the Pioneers would find themselves down by 4 until the bottom of the 8th. SHU would send 11 batters to the plate in that inning, allowing 7 runs that would clinch them another big win against CCSU. Sorrento and Schock started the rally with 2 back-to-back doubles, leading to the Pioneers' first run. CCSU recorded 1 more strikeout, and then the Pioneers came alive. Jesus Medina keeps the inning going with a double. Then a single off the bat of P.J. DeFilippo, which would drive in Medina for another run. Then a walk, a throwing error, and the bases were now loaded for Jason Sullivan, who delivered the game-winning single, scoring DeFilippo and Alex Perry. Short added another run off his single, and then another throwing error brought the Pioneers up by 3. Step-up young buck Brent Teller, who would go 3 1/3 innings of relief, allowing only 1 single in the top of the 8th. Teller would get the win, improving to 3-3 on the year, and the Pioneers are now 3 games over 500 for the first time this year. Short capped his big week with his first NEC of the Week Player Award for his career, as he finished 8 for 15 at the plate with an on-base percentage of .667. SHU wraps up their season-long 6-game homestand Wednesday when they host crosstown rivals Fairfield at 3 o'clock at the Harbor Yard.
SHU softball went 0-1-1 at Stony Brook last Wednesday. Sacred Heart fell in the first game of the doubleheader 4-2, but rallied for a 3-3 tie in the second game. The duo of Lauren Delgadillo and Fallon Bovino combined for all 5 of SHU's RBIs against the Seawolves. A day later, SHU welcomed former conference rivals Quinnipiac to Pioneer Park. Pitchers Jamie Carlson and Kristen McGann allowed only 1 hit as the Pios cruised to a 4-0 win to snap a 5-game winless streak. Delgadillo kept up her impressive play as she went 2 for 2 at the plate, scoring a run and knocking in another. On Saturday, the Pios hosted St. Francis U for another doubleheader, but were swept by the Red Flash, falling 6-1 in the first game and 11-2 in the second game. On Sunday, they looked to rebound as they had another home doubleheader, this time against Robert Morris. After falling 3-1 in the first game, the Pios returned the favor, beating the Colonials 3-1 in the second game. Freshman Emily Orozco went the distance in the game, giving up only 4 hits and 1 run. Offensively, she was paced by Victoria Diodario and Hannah Ford, who combined for 4 hits in the win. In their midweek contest yesterday, the team fell to Fairfield U 4-2 at Alumni Field, which dropped the team to 11-26-1 on the season. SHU returns to NEC play this weekend, first heading to Wagner on Saturday before returning home on Sunday to host Fairleigh Dickinson on Senior Day.
Let's head now into the update corner for some volleyball and tennis action.
Thanks, Frank. Men's volleyball got off to a hot start in the first of a season-ending 2-match homestand with a sweep of NJIT. In the win, Sacred Heart finished with the second-best hitting percentage in a single match in school history, hitting .487%. Austin Arkela led SHU on the day with 14 kills, while 3 of his teammates chipped in with 9 kills apiece. The final match of the season ended in a grueling 5-set loss to conference foe Princeton. After a first set win, the Pioneers dropped 2 in a row before taking the 4th set to force a decisive 5th, which they narrowly lost 15-13. The two teams were deadlocked in the stat department, except for blocks, where SHU dominated with a total of 19. Arkela, Sacred Heart's only graduating senior, led the team with 18 kills to go along with 8 digs and 3 blocks on senior day. The 2016 men's volleyball season has come to a close with the Pioneers' record at 7-17 overall and 5-9 in the EIVA play. Moving on to tennis, the men's tennis team opened their match with NJIT by securing the doubles point, but fell 6-1 after dropping all 6 in singles play. Brian Power and Matt Dean moved to 12-11 on the court together with their 3rd straight doubles win. Then Matthew Suppernut and Anthony Santino locked up another point with their 2nd straight win. Singles play was closer than the score shows, as Power and Matthew Pelotti both lost tight 3-set thrillers. Saturday wasn't much better for the Pioneers, who were swept by reigning NEC champs Bryant University. Dean and Power had their doubles win streak snapped with a 6-3 loss in their first match. Power, Karan Narula, and Corey Seltman came close to forcing a 3rd set in their singles matches, but all fell into the 2nd set tiebreak. SHU will look to tune up for this weekend's NEC championships when they take on Ryder tomorrow afternoon. Conference play continued on the court when women's tennis took on Bryant. SHU got off to a fast start in doubles play as Katie Dorenzo and Taylor Gerder improved their doubles win streak to 4. In second doubles, Lindsay Post and Paige Olson secured the point for Sacred Heart and matched the tandem in first doubles with their 4th straight win. There was only 1 win in singles play, but Dorenzo made it count, taking down the reigning NEC Player of the Year in first singles 7-6 and 6-4. The Pioneers ended the regular season with a 2nd straight 5-2 loss at the hands of another conference foe, Fairleigh Dickinson. Mariah Wardius notched one of the 2 points on the day for Sacred Heart with the 6th singles that puts her record at a perfect 4-0. Wardius also was a part of the lone doubles victory that gave her partner Olivia Podoberski her 16th doubles win, just 1 behind Dorenzo for the team lead. Dorenzo also ends the season leading the Pioneers in singles victories, finishing with an NEC best 17-6 record after she got the win at the 1st position. That capped a week in which the senior would win the final NEC Player of the Week award of the regular season. With the regular season over, the Pioneers have their eyes set on an NEC title in West Windsor, New Jersey this weekend. As the 3 seed, SHU will face Wagner in the first round on Friday. You guys could check back with me later, and I'll have an update from the track and the golf course.
Thanks, Diana. Now joining Taylor Krimmel in the Coach's Corner is Laura Cook, head coach of the women's lacrosse team.
Well, thank you, Aaron, and thank you, Coach Cook, for joining us here today. So I want to talk about Jesslyn Joseph, scored her 100th career point, and what does it mean for her to do that on senior day, and what does this whole senior class mean to you as a program?
Well, Jesslyn has grown so much over the 4 years. It's something I'm really proud of, and how she's grown as a player and as an individual. And overall, our senior class, they're just great ambassadors for our program, not just on the field. Obviously, they've done great things on the field, but a lot of it's what they do in the classroom and what they've accomplished community service-wise. They're just great leaders by example for our underclassmen, and they've just done, been a huge benefit for our program.
Okay, and in your last game versus the Mount, you had a great comeback, scored the last 4 goals to win the game. What does it say about the character of this team to be able to mount that comeback, and how were you able to do it on each end of the field?
Well, I think in the first half, we dominated the first half, didn't really show up in the score. And then second half, we had the first half of the second half, we had a lot of mental breakdowns on defense. So it's nice to finally get one of those 1-goal wins. We've been on the other side too often the last year and a half. So I think for us, it just shows that the girls are finally getting over that hump and really believing in themselves, and only bodes well for us in the next 3 games.
And you play your final home game of the season, 3 p.m. Friday versus LIU Brooklyn. What does it mean to you to play in front of the Sacred Heart crowd and be a part of this community?
Well, I think, I've been here 17 years, and, this last year it's been great to have a lot of support from the student athletes coming out, and a lot of the administrators and staff have been coming out to our games, so it's great for the girls to see that, and I think that gives them an edge, especially, when we're playing at home.
Okay, and we know 4 teams make the playoffs. It's kind of a muddied playoff picture right now. There's a 3-way tie. Teams are 3-1, tied for first place. You're tied with 3 teams for second place. What's the message to the team in this final playoff push?
Well, for us, it's always been, and one of our goals has been to take one game at a time, so that's really what we're focused on right now. Obviously, if we take care of business and control our destiny, then we'll have no problems. But, for us, the focus is LIU and what we need to do to win on Friday.
All right, well, good luck the rest of the way, and we hope to see you in the playoffs. Remember to come out to the final home game of the season at Campus Field Friday, 3 p.m. LIU Brooklyn. Now let's send it back to the desk for Frank, who has some more updates on women's lacrosse.
I sure do, Taylor. Women's lacrosse had a pair of home games this weekend starting on Friday when SHU hosted Wagner. The Pioneers scored 6 goals from 6 different players on the day, but it wouldn't be enough to overcome Wagner's 8. The Pioneers brought the game within 1 in the second half. Goals by Caitlin Delaney and Jenna Liljeberg made the score 6-5 with 13:07 to play in the game. After going down by 2 again, thanks to another Wagner goal, Jesslyn Joseph scored at the 5:29 mark to put the game back in reach for SHU. However, the Pioneers wouldn't be able to score again for the rest of the game. Wagner outshot the Sacred Heart 25-14 and held a 14-9 edge on ground balls. Sunday was senior day for the Sacred Heart against Mount St. Mary's, and the Pioneers wanted to make it a special day for the 5 seniors. And that's exactly what had happened. Sacred Heart held a 4-3 lead at the half, but the Mount came back out of the break red hot, scoring 4 straight goals, a 7-4 lead. SHU started its comeback with a pair of 5 free possession goals to come within 1 of catching Mount with 13:50 left in regulation. A minute later, Jesslyn Joseph evened it up at 8 before Kylie Calandra netted the go-ahead goal with 12:05 on the clock. Joseph led all players with 4 goals, recording the 100th of her career on her senior day. Leanna Doyle added 2 goals, while both Alyssa Pierce and Calandra both had a goal and an assist. Goalie Paige Hammock had 6 saves on the day to ensure that the Pioneers got their 9-8 win over Mount. Let's get back into the update corner where Diana has promised us some track and golf updates.
That I did, Frank. SHU track and field made waves as 2 records came crashing down at the Ocean State Invitational this past weekend. Sean Ferguson broke the school record in the outdoor mile with a time of 4 minutes and 12 seconds, both a New England and IC4A qualifying time. Not to be outdone, Shannon Hickey set the new school record at 5 minutes and 1 second in her mile. Sacred Heart kept rolling the next day when Joshua Beloff won the 200-meter dash and Adam King won the high jump. On the women's side, the 4x400 relay team took home the win, and freshman Erica Johnson earned her first collegiate victory in discus. Men's golf finished the Yale Spring Invitational in 12th place after they improved their team score by 14 strokes in the second round. Hector Gutierrez led the way for SHU on their leaderboard in 5th, jumping 19 spots thanks to a 2 over par 72 in his afternoon round. Alex Manor also made a double-digit move on the leaderboard into 35th at 15 over par for the tournament. Sacred Heart will test their luck at Mohegan Sun Country Club when they play in the Till Duty is Done Invitational hosted by UConn. The women's golf team took home the victory at the SHU Spring Invitational. Chelsea Sedler was the top name of the leaderboard for the 2nd straight tournament at 7 over par. Abby Hood and Stephanie Lowe tied for 5th at 12 over par, while Ellen Niebuhr and Lauren Pelster finished a shot behind at 13 over par to tie for 7th. As a team, the Pioneers won the tournament by 13 strokes and were well ahead of NEC rivals Central Connecticut and Wagner. Women's golf will finish the spring season where it started, down in Daytona Beach for the NEC Championships this weekend. That's all I've got for you guys this week. Why don't we go back to the desk for some men's lacrosse?
You got it, Diana. Senior night for the men's lacrosse team took place on Saturday night as the Piles welcomed Wagner for a key conference matchup. It was senior midfielder Alex Dodge who led SHU with 4 goals to bring his season total up to 18. Despite his efforts, the Pioneers fell 11-8 to the Seahawks. They returned in action on Tuesday when they welcomed the Hartford Hawks to Campus Field. SHU rallied to score 5 goals in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't enough as they lost 9-8. This time it was Bryce Jerk and Alex Dodge who led the Pioneers with 3 points each in the loss. Jerk finished with 2 goals and an assist. Dodge finished with a goal and 2 assists, while freshman Greg Price made 11 saves in net. The team will be on the road on Friday as they head to Annapolis to take on Navy at 7 p.m. Thanks for joining us on the SHU Sports Report. For Taylor Krimmel, Diana Canizero, Frank DeZenzo, I'm Aaron Burrell, and we'll see you back here next week.